Hello, I am Palicpic, your student in ME123L-2 EO4. My experience from your class is great. We don't meet that often, but I learned a lot from the works you have given us and the video presentation you presented. We made 6 different lab reports that differs in contents and learnings. Each lab report has their own topic questions and quiz to be able to know or grasp if we understood the topic very well. Making the lab report was really hard for me, especially writing numerous paragraphs and drawings. The fact that my handwriting is bad and I can't draw well, it gave me a hard time, especially meeting the deadline. But later on, I kind of got the hang of it and I think I did okay, maybe, or I guess. I hope in the future I could do more lab reports, but not handwritten. Most of the lessons were new to me. Actually, the subject is new to me since I didn't get to experience this on my past classes during high school or even have the idea on these kinds of things. The first lesson is about collection of tools and equipments used in the workshop. I researched 40 different tools and equipment used in the workshop. There were tools that I currently use at home and tools that I know nothing about. It gave me an idea on what I could use and see at my future working environment. I learned their usage and some parts of the different tools used in woodworking. Safety equipment is important, especially those who are in the field of working. There are different substances or gases that might affect your health and body. Reading the guide on how to use the tools and machines is important to have a better quality of work and to ensure each one's safety. The second lesson is about flatback, on how to do it with tools with the tools given or even if the tools needed is not present. You just have to find ways to be able to do the exact thing needed to be done. I learned about what tools is needed to create a flatback and what procedures are needed to be followed. I learned the different types of woods used in the market today, which is softwood and hardwood. Softwood is milled from trees and hardwood comes from trees that doesn't produce needles or cones. I learned the best way on how to cut the tapers. The best way to cut the tapers is by using a rust file to get the best result. Rust file is used to remove wood. I learned the difference of a hacksaw, scroll saw, rip saw, and a backsaw. Hacksaw is used for cutting metal. Scroll saw is used to cut spiral lines. Rip saw is used for precision cut, and backsaw has a stiffening rib but is also used for precision cut. I also learned what is board foot. Board foot is a unit of measurement for the volume of wood or lumber. I also learned what is the purpose of working drawing. Its purpose is to provide accurate dimension and graphical information that can be used by a contractor and the supplier. The third lesson is about two-piece pattern. Is also learned what tools are needed for the creation of the work. I learned also the different procedures needed to be followed to create the two-piece pattern. I also learned what is the screw theory and who developed it. The screw theory was discovered by Sir Robert Stowell in 1876. It is a tool used for analyzing spatial mechanisms. It is applied kinematics and statistics of mechanism. I also learned about James Watt and what linkage he explored or developed. James Watt developed the linkage called Watt linkage. James Watt was a Scottish inventor, a mechanical engineer, and a chemist. Watt linkage is also known as the parallel linkage, which is a type of mechanical linkage in which the moving point is constrained to travel on a nearly straight line. Linkage is a structure with metallic links connected. I learned the first mechanism of a link, which is the lever and the fulcrum. The lever serves as a link, and the fulcrum serves as a joint. The fourth lesson is about rocker arm. I learned what tools are needed and procedures on doing the said work. I learned different various designs of the rocker arm, the stamped steel rocker arm, rolled tip rocker arm, full roller rocker arm, center pivot, and lastly the end pivot. Stamped steel is the most common type of rocker arm. It is used it it uses a point in holding the rocker, while the rolled tip rocker arm allows for less friction and more power through the rollers. Full roller rocker arm has a shaft that connects the arms. It is more rigid and allows the engine to be more stable. The center pivot is a camshaft that pushes the lifter, and the end pivot puts a pivot point at the end of the rocker arm. The materials needed to make a rocker arm are made from steel, aluminum, or iron. I also learned the ideal leverage ratio for a rocker arm, which is 1.45 to 1.7, and I also learned about the jig, which is a device that holds and supports the workpiece and is also used to guide cutting tools. Specific geometry is the correct design and application of the rocker arm so that its up and down motion relationship to both sides is realized for both. Jim Miller invented the rocker arm geometry. The fifth lesson that I learned is the split pattern. I learned as well the tools needed and the procedures on making the split pattern. I learned that there are different types of piping elbows. The socket welded, the threaded welded, and the butt elbow. Socket welded has a trapezoidal area at the end. Threaded elbow, its inner surface is machined into a thread. And butt welded elbow is formed by pressing or forging. I also learned who developed piping elbows, which is Johann Friedrich or Johann Friedrich. The piping elbows includes at least two straight pipe section that is joined along a Y seam. I learned as well the different colors. I learned as well the different color codes used. Yellow for gaseous element, green for potable water, dark gray is for gaseous sewage, and black and white for electrical conduit. I now know how to differentiate tubing and piping from piping. Tubing is used for medical devices, while piping is used to contain or transfer fluids or gases. Pipes are for large scale world while are for the large scale world, while tubes are for the small scale work. I also learned different piping types and what is commonly used in the market, which are stainless steel pipes, PEX pipe, copper pipe, PVC pipe, galvanized pipe, brass pipe, and cast iron piping. The final lesson is the three-piece pattern. I learned about the different tools used in making the pattern and the procedures to be followed on doing the pattern. I learned about machine guide, which is used to guide and position the cutting equipment. I also learned the different kinds of machine present today. I learned about fitment, which is the degree of tightness and looseness. Also, tolerance, which is used to determine the given dimensions and which type of tolerance is needed to be provided. Tolerance is a magnitude permissible variation of a dimension or other measured value from the given value. I also learned about what specification is needed in buying a claw hammer, which is 12 to 13 inches handle and 7 to 20 ohms head. I also learned what specification is needed to buy a backsaw, which is 10 inches blade with a minimum of 24 teeth. I learned the two functions of machine guide. First is it shows how to use the machine, and second is it contains the parts of the machine. Also, to ensure the safety of the user, The takeaway I got from this lesson is to check precisely the given measurements because it plays a huge role on creating the said work. One single mistake can avoid all the processes needed to be done. With these learnings, I hope that I could apply this on my future job as an engineer and be able to share my learnings from this class to the aspiring engineers in the future. Thank you, sir, for your class and your teachings. I appreciate a lot the effort. I hope we could see each other sometime in the campus. Thank you.